welcome once again to the Resident Sleeper portion of today's stream. As you can probably tell, I have a whole thing set up now. So right now, I can sort of hear the music come in and out. And yeah, we basically have the same setup as last time. So when I talk, the music dies down. When I don't talk, the music goes up. We're still making the games, okay? So we also have a couple of other game ideas that we need to make eventually too. There's actually quite a few. But we need to start with the basics, which is getting Snowjob done first. Because Snowjob, again, the reason why I chose these set of features too was also like it has the most breadth across touching every single system of the game engine. So it's like it's easy for us to know like, okay, how do we do like modeling? Okay, well this has custom models. How do we do particles? Well this has custom particles, right? How do we do sound? This has custom sound stuff. How do we do multiplayer? This is custom multiplayer. How do we do like in-game voice chat? This is custom in-game voice chat. How do we do physics? This is physics. How do we replicate physics in a way that feels good? This is all of that, right? And so doing all of this was sort of like an exercise to sort of see how the system works as a whole, which I think works out pretty well. Again, as you can probably tell, we didn't make it for the game jam. I got really busy with like work, but like thankfully the work stuff is done. So we basically have full time to work on this. And either way we need to because like this has to be done by like Christmas. The hard cutoff for this is Christmas because this is a part of a larger play for the Christmas stuff too. So think of this as like the larger play for the Christmas stuff. Think of Nutcracker as like the for fun thing because I really want to see how to replicate physics fully across multiple clients and do everything purely physics. And then think of the other games as like for fun things that I want to test like can s&box actually make the system like is s&box as a platform like worth it to like try it out, right? So but again, step one is trying to like get there. Obviously as we're going through with this we have a bunch of things that we need to like do. So for instance I actually open Rider or something, but basically from last time what you saw I got basically no work done versus the theoreticals. I fixed some of the movement and I got a better system in mind for it, but even then I don't remember what exactly I did. I just remember thinking like, yeah, this will solve it, and it actually did. But I don't recall how it solved it. So we're gonna need to figure out what that means in terms of solving it. I also don't really remember what we were doing before, so it's like we need to organize some things anyways. So we need to spend some time organizing these like notes and figuring out what the hell's going on. And then from there we'll figure out what to like do. But I think in general, I think we got most of the core starts of the mechanics done, but nothing actually fully completed. And if you're wondering why I had to do that, it's because there's a bug right now in the way it finds an IDE. The way it loops through the folders, it's more of a JetBrains thing. JetBrains IDEs, like they open like a new folder. They don't delete the old folder, which means that it only finds the first folder of the thing that's trying to find. And so you don't actually get to actually open the editor from within s&box. It's actually not a s&box bug. It's more of JetBrains tools not really providing you a way to like find the editor. It's a very weird. Usually it'd be like an environment or like something, but yeah, but to figure some things out. One thing I did figure out though was the UI. So I found this out by looking at the UI much more closely and sort of understanding how it goes. There's actually this element here called a screen. It's a screen panel. There's also one for the world panel as well. So the reason why the UI stuff didn't work before was because I didn't have a way to place it on the actual like screen. So the screen panel is where you do all of your screen-based UI. The world panel is where you put all of your world-based UI. That's why the system didn't really work. Sorry, give me 1 second actually. I need to tweak the sound a bit. There we go. Okay, good. So yeah, so that's why the UI wasn't working when we first tried it out, and that's why now it actually works, and now we can see what's like going on, and now it makes more sense to me because the entire time I was thinking like, what is the entry point of UI? But also the UI stuff is actually very surprisingly fully featured, so you can do everything with the UI. You should do like a shit ton of it. So it's just amazing UI. Thank you. Well, I mean, yeah. But basically, it's just HTML and CSS, so it's a fully rendered like engine for it. So you can even do full-on JavaScript. Well, I mean, not really full-on JavaScript, sorry. But you can do full-on logic and then use the HTML side to like drive the visuals of that logic. Surprisingly, very, very complex. I'm surprised that they went this far, but maybe it wasn't really them going this far, and more the fact that like C# had Razor and it just worked. So like, why not, right? Because I've said this before. I think HTML and CSS are a very good paradigm for UI stuff anyways. Because it fits what you think about in terms of the model. It's a very well-trodden path of UI where it all makes sense. Again, web has been around for a very long time, so there's a lot of like wacky lessons like PHP and like JS and stuff. But there's also great lessons that we've learned from them that have made the entire experience better. And then on top of that, you get the flexibility of like all these really cool like layout patterns that would be annoying to do on your own. And so it kind of just works out very, very well. So it's nice. Obviously, you can tell that I was probably I probably was playing with it to some degree. I think because I tried to figure out how to get like a custom texture, and then this was actually no, I remember. So this led me down the rabbit hole of making my own texture. So I need to open a link for you all. What again? VTF tool textures? No, what is it? What they called again? Sorry, give me a second. I'm trying to find the exact file. So texture format. Here we go. So this is the official Source Engine developer documentary. Documentation. There's an entire thing that you need to do. Source 1 has a tool that's built in, obviously, because Source 1 has always had it. So, and like Source 1, there's like a built-in tool that no one used because it was kind of painful. It was a command line tool, and then somebody made a really good tool called DX2 VText, which is really nice to use. Source 2 doesn't have that. So for Source 2, what you need to like do is you need to like actually maybe this is for 2 now, maybe I don't know, but basically you had to like do this. You had to just copy this like template and like update these yourself to know what you mean. Because basically, there's 2 things that go into like a texture file. It's like this data as well as the image itself. So you have the image itself placed somewhere in a relative folder, and then you have this file that tells the engine how to use it and like all these different structures about it, and even like what algorithms they use for bitmaps. This is evil. Why would you have light editor on a dark editor website? Maybe it's this. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. That was like a. It was Dark Reader. Sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say like this is actually evil, but no, it was Dark Reader. I think as Dark Reader, the way it works is it just flips the colors. If it doesn't know any better, it just takes like the opposite of like the HSL scale or like something of like specifically the like the L component, which doesn't look nice because like that was the exact opposite of like this on the on the light scale or something, or like the light value. But yeah, no, it's a fine now. But yeah, basically all of this goes into a texture. So maybe this tool was new actually, because I don't remember seeing this. Well, it's not really new. It's like a year ago. Drag and drop a DDS. Oh, I remember why I didn't want to use this, because I was like, what the fuck is a DDS? So apparently a DDS is a format for like textures as well, which is different from just using a plain old PNG. If you just have a plain old PNG, you can use it too, but you have to like do this manually. But if you have a DDS, which is specifically a format that was made in... I remember reading this. It's a very long time ago. A doctor of dental surgery at University of Toronto. No. DDS format. There we go. The Microsoft Direct Draw Surface format. It's a Microsoft format built all the way in 1999. Yep. So it's data compressed with a previously proprietary S3 texture compression algorithm. So, yeah. It's basically just the format that you use for like game textures, but specifically for direct draw, which is interesting because it's like, as far as I can tell, like if you look up here, it says it's running on like Vulkan. So I don't even know how this would work, but I guess this is why they have their own format of VTeX, because this is like a engine agnostic format, and then they use engine agnostic files like PNGs and stuff. But like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, basically, this is what we had to do for like textures and stuff. And I remember I was trying to figure out how to make it work for the crosshair, because the crosshair texture, I was like, why isn't it working when I try to apply like an albedo chart, right? And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And then I was like, what is a VTeX? And then it went all downhill from there. So there's a lot that we need to do to get textures going. But as a baseline, we have a crosshair, kind of. We also have some UI, which like works. What? Trains cleared. What's interesting too is coming back to this project, right? Because I don't know what this project was. And I don't know what we did. We can go basically from scratch and figure everything out on our own, and we can just see what happens. Because I have no clue what's been going on here. For instance, why is it red? Oh, I know why it's red. Because of this. Well, but you see, it's actually pretty flexible, and it's interesting to see that there's like a root element that is the Razor file itself. That's the element of the entire Razor file itself. and then you have other things that you can have. So basically, it's just C# code mixed in. It feels a lot like, I know this is weird to say. It feels a lot like what React tried to do in sort of like merging and localizing the functionality of UI with the visuals of UI in a single place, but specifically C# flavored. It's surprisingly flexible, and when I was playing with it, I was like, I see the merits of this because you can have exactly the same thing of like components and stuff, and it feels good to do. Like it actually doesn't feel bad to do at all. Obviously, it's just a bit of a learning curve because like now we did figure out how to make this all like work, but we'll see it. SCSS, who never liked it. Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. I mean, in general, I don't like anything that like adds too much magic on top of the CSS stuff because like I think I said this before. The problem with web dev is that it feels like a very basic language, right? Like, I mean, JavaScript is its own thing. If you just look at HTML and CSS alone, and you look at what you get there, right? What you get is a very simple language of just open braces, close braces, and then some tag name, right? The problem is that there's a million APIs that you need to learn. On the HTML side, it's stuff like what is an image, and then what is like an input type, and then what is like a canvas, what is like and then all these other things. And it's on the CSS side, it's all these different directives too of like what is like transform, what is translate, what is like all of this mean, what is flexbox, what is grid. And SCSS adds on top of that some niceties, obviously. Like there are some niceties that I think were necessary for the time, right? Because back then, I can tell you right now, it was a bit of a shit show. There was no real way to have like templated CSS that like made sense, and there wasn't any way to like do it in a way that really worked well within sort of like the web frameworks of the time. There was also no easy way to make reusable fragments of CSS without having to go through like a ton of like rigmarole. Now there is. There's a lot of processor like there's a lot of like functions that are available now that we can use that just kind of work, right? But back then it was kind of a necessary evil. Nowadays I don't see the need for it. CSS is already perfect. Okay, maybe not perfect. I'm gonna say maybe not perfect. It's getting there, but maybe not perfect. No need for SCSS. But I do agree with the latter part. I think that this day, I think now it doesn't really need to be there for SCSS. Again, maybe I've never hit a use case where it does have to be there though, right? But the way that I see it, it feels like there's a lot built into the entirety of like. It feels like there's a lot built into CSS in general that you get away with like 99% of it. And if you need those like niceties of like templating and stuff, you're pretty much tied to your web framework anyway. So it's like you might as well just like use it there. And the React paradigm of mixing styles in feels like it works fairly well. So there's no real need to go any further. So at least for me, I tend to find there's no need for SCSS nowadays. Back then, needed to a very large degree. Nowadays, not so much. Fuck YAML. Okay, well, I mean. This is it. I knew it. The programmers are going to come out and they're going to say things like that. What, you want TOML? You want TOML, huh? You think TOML is good? You think Tom's obvious minimal language is good compared to YAML, huh? Sorry, had a stroke. Yes. Yes. Actually, I do think TOML is actually pretty good. I actually do think TOML is the more understandable of the two, and you actually get like a pretty good mapping of like things. I like it for my configuration files, but it's annoying to have to write a parser for it if there's none all already. But I do like especially the way that this way of grouping categories and having subcategories. This is the shit. I think this is genius, and it's why YAML is kind of annoying. I mean, YAML, JSON, like the package.json of npm, I find that to be madness. I'm like, I don't think it was really made for this. But Tom wasn't alive then. Tom wasn't alive then. So until Tom was born, we had to deal with JSON. I actually don't know if that's true. I could be spewing like lies to you all. But yeah, that's a lot that we learned. I also tweaked a little of the snowball stuff. So I also got a license, so this doesn't like expire because like I want to get a license of this anyways because I really enjoy writing. So TOML is greater than JSON, which is greater than YAML. Thank you. I agree. Like, if I have to use something, I don't want to use YAML. I'd rather use JSON. But if I had to use JSON, I'd rather use TOML. Like, Rust having built-in support for TOML, genius. I'm like, yes, thank you. Like, something sane that feels easy to use. You go through a Rust configuration file. You know where everything is, and you know what everything relates to. There's no mystery. Like, it's just all there for you. And it's like, yes, like, it makes sense to me. You see a YAML file, you just close it and you leave. Well, I mean, yeah. See, you have the luxury of it, right? I'm paid to deal with them. YAML examples. I don't know. What's like a good YAML example file? What's a good YAML file that like people know about? Ah, here we go. Circle CI. This was my nightmare. I hated these. the Circle CI YAML configuration files, they get so nested at some point and so messy that like you're basically just trying to figure out where in the indentation you are and how to make this work. Especially if your steps get complicated. Every single time, I've never not seen a Circle CI configuration file just be condensed into a shell script. Because nobody wanted to deal with this shit. And so everybody just like does one step, shell script. One step, shell script. It almost always, there would never be multiple steps. Well, I mean, there would be one for build and test and like a deploy step and stuff like that. But in general, like you wouldn't see more multiples under this. It would just be like this. And just one giant shell script that everyone has to maintain. A, easier to port if you have to move off a circle. B, way easier than this shit. Oh my god. Oh god. Yeah, here, this is a great example. This is a great example. Look at this. Look. Like, the hierarchy is clear. What sucks is that I don't want the hierarchy to be clear. I want it to be readable, right? It's clear from a logical perspective what everything belongs to. But my eyes, they glaze over this. I'm getting glazed right now. Nothing about this is clear. No, there's one thing that is clear. At some point, this command is a part of steps, which is a part of test. But that's it. That's the only clarity around it. Whereas like this is very complicated. I don't know. It's just way too messy. Yeah. I mean that's why we have TOML. Anyways, stop. You're distracting me. You are the mind war. Everybody stop! Everybody stop and come down! So, what else did I do? I need to remember what I did. I did this. We need to fix this at some point. We need to fix this. I need to do this such that you only do the other ray trace if you have to. But this helps you determine if you need to move the snowball so it doesn't collide with you anymore with a stored radius on top of what you have. So that it grows at the same rate as a scale, because scale is a percentage anyways, right? You can treat the rate of growth to be 1-to-1. Thus, when you move it, it feels like a smooth movement instead of being janky. But I don't think I ever ran this. Basically, it does a ray trace in like all 8 directions. Is there 8? Up, down, left, right. Up, down, left, right. Forward, back. All 6 directions. Up, down, left, right, forward, back. And says, okay. Because it's a circle. Spheres have this property where the extent of where they hit something is exactly the radius, right? And thus, as long as your tunnels are mostly squares, the extent of the circle will always be the up, down, left, right, forward, back axes of that circle, which almost always works out in the game, even with circular tunnels, because of the way that the corners don't really matter. Because the corners and like the way that I plan to have tunnels being made is with snowballs anyways. So there's no way that it'll ever look different. And I don't know if I'm going to have like crazy ways to make tunnels. Because I don't know if I want it to be a game where you make a tunnel. That's a whole different game, right? Like a game where you make tunnels is fundamentally different from a game where you make snowballs on a conceptual level. So this math should work out where it checks those 6 directions, checks if there's any collision, checks the opposite direction, checks if there's any space. If there's no space, I mean, it should eventually, but it should send a signal back up that says there's no space. What do I do? I'm gonna do like a thing that like highlights the snowball in like red, and then stops it from like moving forward. That then says like, hey, there's not enough space. The snowball is like gonna break, and if you try to push it like 3 times, it'll just like blow up. This actually mostly works, except there's a bit of a problem here that you can probably tell. It does every single trace immediately, even if it might only need a handful of the traces, right? Like it might only need like a handful of the traces, or even any at all. But in general, the only trace that has to happen every single time is the down direction, and almost always you never have to do the up direction. So there's a bit of an optimization here where what we can do is to only do the opposite trace if we already know we've entered some kind of zone, entered a place that has a wall on that side within kissing range, basically, right? We can probably calculate this value, which is a lot simpler, but I also don't know how to do it without doing ray traces, so maybe it's not worth it. There's also the fact that like I haven't looked into collision, because collision may be an easier way of doing it. The problem is that I want to move the snowball before the collision, so that the snowball moves up before we grow the scale. Because if you grow the scale before you move it, there's a high likelihood it clips through the floor, unless you change your collision rules, like your collision logic to account for that case, which is far more complicated. Like, I'd rather have no special cases in collision code, and I'd rather have the special case be in the positioning code, because positioning is easier to manage than collision, because collision is more about like very weird bespoke rules about like categories and like physics elements. Like it's more complicated, right? Position is like we can set the position to like anything. We have full control. It's fully controlled on our end. That's way easier to like manage. It's why I'm sort of going with this. It's why I'm sort of hesitant about this. But either way, there's still something that we can still do to optimize this. Only do the opposite side trace if we have a hit on that particular side. And this makes it easy because like we have to check at least, a couple of things, right? The 99% case is the floor. Almost always the player's snowball is going to hit the floor when they scale the snowball. Almost always, because I don't think we'll ever build a tunnel at this point. Or maybe even, I do want a wall. So one thing I did want to add to the design was a cabin. Okay, add cabin somewhere. Flush this out. But almost always, you're going to be doing a trace down to the floor to make sure that you're not at the floor. But also, like, it doesn't make sense, right? Because you're always touching the floor as a snowball. And you only grow if you're on the ground, right? So realistically, this should only be checking the trace up top to make sure that there's space up there. But you're almost always going to have space on the top of you. So it's like, in terms of assumption, you can almost always make the assumption that it's worth it for you to just grow upwards and ignore the fact that there's no space underneath, right? So the up and down traces can almost disappear. The left, right, forward, center, forward, backwards, those are the ones that you don't really know. The horizontal and like what's the word for like a forward plane? The horizontal and the forward planes, axes, are the ones that you need to check almost every single time. But also, like, I don't really know if you need to, given the game's the design, at least right now, without a cabin, but it's worth it to do anyways. So, how many lines have we written tonight? Do you count spoken? Do you count spoken word or no? Do you count spoken poetry? Slam poetry, slam coding, right? Same thing. I can do it. How about this? I'm the driver, you're the pilot. Okay, I'm gonna give you remote access to my computer. I'm gonna tell you what to do, and you do it for me. All right? We can be like that duo from Google. Sanjay Gemawat and was it Paul something? We can be like them. Where like I'm the not Sanjay and then you're Sanjay on the keyboard, right? And then you have Emacs or like something, which is what's fine if you want to have Emacs. Sure, it's disgusting, but sure. Anyways, so you get my gist. So yeah, we need to optimize this a ton of it. Then we need to figure out what's actually left to do, because I don't remember. Like, I don't remember anything about what we like did. Again, it's been a long time, and I've been so busy with like work that I have no clue. I see. You do the poetry slamming, and then I do, yeah, exactly. I do the poetry slamming, and then you do the programming. Exactly. Yes. Also called unpaid labor. But HR wants you to know that it's an unapproved corporate term, and to please use the more family-friendly term, pair programming. Thank you. So we're gonna see how this goes, but we need to check a couple things. So in the meantime, let's get started by just optimizing this. So again, we are almost always gonna be touching the floor. I don't think I want to deal with snowballs flying, but we can almost always assume that the snowball will always be touching the floor. And even if it's flying, let's say the snowball is in a parabola, right? Let's say it's in like an arc or something, right? Does it really matter? Why is there NFTs here? Oh no, Monster Rancher. Sorry, that can I set like a can I set like a new starting point? I don't want to start down there anymore. Can I set like this here? Can I set this to be my starting point? Because of wait, they changed the menu again. Well, because of Heb, I was gonna say I actually use this like menu now, but we need like a new starting point here. View mode. Uh-oh. There's 10,000 shapes. The width is 49,000. Wow. The Monster Rancher NFTs are essential to the game. Well, that's why the ski-free Yeti is a part of the game's concept, right? Like the ski-free Yeti is effectively under what happens when you try to make an NFT of a Monster Rancher. It's like the AI's hallucination of like what a monster from Monster Rancher is, and then it like hallucinates the ski-free Yeti. Really, all of history is like cyclical, so we're really trying to pay homage here to the greats, to the classics. Why'd they change everything again? Why did they keep changing the UI, huh? Why? Hey, chat. Hey, Mod. Welcome. Wow. How was work? Was it okay? Did you just get... You didn't just get home from like work, right? Maybe you did. I don't know. But either way, welcome home. And I'm glad that you're here. What the fuck is this? We don't have the phones until Friday. Oh. Wait, so... What do you have to do? So what do you guys get to like do? So because like if you don't have it, no one comes in, right? But then like also it's like boring for you. So do you guys like stand? Do you just stand around? But also it means that you have more time to play with the VR stuff, right? Do you get to play with on the VR stuff? Pre-order now. I don't want to pre-order an iPhone. I don't want to pre-order an iPhone. I don't want the phone. I want the Apple Vision Pro. Can you get one for me for free, legally or illegally? I don't really care. Like it doesn't matter how you get it. Just don't tell me how, so I'm not legally liable. I just want it, right? Get it to me any which way that you can. What is even like the point of the new iPhone? I don't think there's anything new, anyways. Yes, hand covering. I won't tell. Yes. What was I gonna do again? What was I gonna do? I need help. Does anybody remember what I was going to do? I got endlessly sidetracked. Sorry, it wasn't even you, Mod. We got sidetracked as soon as I opened this thing. What the fuck was I gonna do? Who is my driver? I need a driver. Is anybody willing to drive me? Anybody? Can somebody drive me, please? I can pilot, but you have to drive me, please. The thinnest bezels ever on an iPhone. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna cut my hands on it. How much more thin can it get? The new iKnife. When you hold it, it cuts right through you. Oh, am I finishing it tonight? No, not tonight. But it has to be done by Christmas. But I want to get it done by the end of September. So that November we have more time to build Nutcracker. Because my goal was end of September, Snowjob. November we make Nutcracker. December, actually, you guys might like this game concept. There's a game concept that I've been saving here. So remember last time when I said like we need like a job where somebody transcribes rap battles, kind of like a courtroom, and then I was like, wait a minute, that's a cool game idea. So is it rap battle typing game? So the point of this game, this is the game that we're gonna be making for December. It's a live transcription from words into TTS. It transcribes your words immediately. So you need to type really fast, okay? But it's freedom typing. But it's a rap battle. So the audience determines whether or not you win or lose by how good your rap battle was. And you get like 30 seconds per diss, and you have like a beat. You know what I mean? And then it basically, like, you get to choose from like shitty, like, TTS voices. I wanted like a grandma voice because I was like, that has to be funny. I wanted people like hooked up to machines so their brain is like there and the tongue is like out of their like, body. And I wanted this to be the way that people resolve fights, because if you have to type, it's easier to like manage and like moderate, right? And then, but it's still like a hardcore thing to do, because like, can you type battle? Pretty good, right? It's pretty good. As a concept, it's kind of good. You're starting another. Well, so the goal is to get one per month. That was always the goal. Like, was to get one game per like month. It's just a bit hard to now. I mean, now I'm unemployed now, so it gets easier. It gets a lot easier. What was I gonna draw? There was something important that I was going to like draw. Help, chat, help. Doesn't anyone know? Nah, fuck it. I'll just do it myself. Fuck it. I'll do it myself. Snowball forward result. What? What was I gonna draw? Was it the ski free monster? No, the ski free monster was a part of the NFT. Nah, fuck it. No need to think. We just do now. I'm gonna optimize this somewhat, and then we're gonna figure out what else we need to do. Okay. One, we don't need to care about checking down. We can always assume down. Like we can pretty much always assume the snowball will hit the floor, and that there's always space on top of it. Always, right? So we don't even need these. We just need to do the calculation of the size itself. Then we do these extra calculations based on these like traces, right? But the name down result doesn't exist in this context. Huh? Oh, oops. But either way, we have to deal with this. So not enough space below, but we have room above. Push it up. This is almost always the default. Almost. This is almost always the default. So we can just deal with this right here. Okay, cool. Then we'll go into 209. I mean this whole chunk actually, we don't really need this. Okay, so we got to go here. What percent of Snowjob is done? You want me to be honest, or like what's your like how are you feeling tonight? Like do you feel good? Do you want me to be honest? Or do you feel like you've like had a bad day? Like do you want me to soften the impact? Like cuz I can make it easier for you if you want. Like it so it really the answer depends on how you feel tonight, right? Then I'll give you like an answer. Like I'm your boss and you're giving a progress report. Ooh. Okay, a new important question. Have you been happy about my performance so far? Like what's your like are you on the fence about me? Do you think I've been doing good? Like do you like what I've been doing? Like how's it feeling like, right boss? Right? Like hey boss, how's it going? How do you feel about my like progress so far? You don't know? I'm a new hire. Ooh. Well, you know what? You know what I always say, boss? It's a bit like learning how to ride a bike, right? It takes a while to learn, fall off the bike a couple times, but once you learn, then you learn. And then you never forget how to stop riding it. You never forget how to ride a bike, right? So really, I think I'm still at that part where I'm still stumbling and I'm falling off the bike, but I think I'm gonna get there eventually. You know what I mean? I once I learn how to ride a bike, it's smooth sailing from here. And I've been really enjoying the vibes on this team. I really enjoy the vibes. You're fired, buddy. I almost made it. Speaking of office roleplay, I've been really wanting to play that like Chip and Dale thing, or like Dale and Dawson. It's been hard to find people for it though. It takes a lot of people to like play it, but I also only want to play it with like RPers, because I want to RP like an office. Like I really enjoy the idea of RPing like an office, and I can't wait to do so. But it seems like I'm fired anyway, so like, does it really matter? Yeah. So we can just do this automatically. You're fired, buddy. You actually banned the bot for me. Wow, I think that's the first time you've ever done your job as a mod. You do realize that you're a volunteer mod, right? And that you don't actually have to. Like I made you a mod because it was like for like funnies. You can just enjoy your time and just live your like life. You never see them. That's because I banned them. That's because I banned them. And you're never on your mod account. I'm the one who I'm the one who's cleaning the house around here, okay? Like you don't have to all of a sudden step in and then be like, I'm doing my part. You can just pretend like you don't want to be here. It's fine. Like, you don't even have, you can just be real and be like, you don't want to be here. It's fine. I get it. But seriously though, I don't want you to like I don't want you to like deal with it because I feel bad. Only deal with it when I have the money to like pay you. Actually, I have to message you at some point because at some point I'm gonna have to message you because I may need your help with an event that we're doing at some point, and that's when I actually have to like pay you. So I'll let you know in like a month's time when it happens. But it won't be like a long thing. It'll be like a 3 or 4 hour thing. But when I need you, I'll call on you and I'll give you like loads of money for it. Thank you. You're riding a bike. What do you mean? No, please don't ride a bike. No, please. You fall off, but you get back on. I'm living the vibes on this team, boss. That's just me. You can't use what I said against you. You're fired. You're fired. You're trying to copy from me? Listen, I heard that line. Okay, I know that line. Can you imagine how fucked up it would be actually if like 20 years ago you got fired from like an internship and it broke you so much that you got revenge by running your own company, and then you took apart, and then you went ahead and you like bought out your boss's company, and then they come to you and it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna say the same line as like a thing. It sucks. I don't know how it would feel. I don't know. It feels evil. I'm not made to be a CEO. You know what I mean? I'm made to be like a normal person. Wow, the whole bus is laughing. Please don't tell me I'm a speaker. Please don't tell me I'm a speaker. Please don't tell me I'm a speaker. Hey, bus. Hope you're enjoying your trip. Be sure to get home nice and well. And everyone's working hard today. All of you have worked very, very well. Thank you for the work that you do. The world appreciates it. And if the world doesn't appreciate it, I appreciate it, right? Like that, you know, the meme, right? Batman has 900 fans. You know, I'm one of them. If he has one fan, I'm one of them. If you have no fans, it means I'm dead. So you know what? I'm your fan. I'm still alive, so I'm still here. Don't worry about that. Please chill out the speakers. Please. I'm feeling I feel the pressure. Anyways, so okay, so the snowball is always touching the floor. So we only ever need to move the position of the snowball up on the z-axis, right? That's almost always guaranteed. And I think we ignore caves for now. The moment that we add caves, that's a whole different problem. But really what we can do is just the one trace upwards to deal with the cave. So actually, I need to undo everything I did and then copy paste that and then add it back. Wait, sorry. Awkward. Yes, this is how programmers really work. So we do the trace up. We do the trace up and then we see what's like going on here. Okay, so we know that there's space upstairs, but do we know? Like, should we check anyways? I don't know. Like, what's the difference? Basically, what I need to know is this. If you have to check every single side of you anyways, right? Like, if somebody told you every day to look up, down, left, right, and you had to do it every single day, does it matter that the order in which you like do it, right? It's like Simon Says. Simon Says, look up, down, left, right. If you look right, up, down, left, is it the same thing? Probably, right? So maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe in terms of the math, it's like math, right? Picasso found this a long time ago with like math. They found the commutative property of addition. 1 plus 2 and 2 plus 1 is the same thing always. So it doesn't matter which way you look. And it doesn't matter necessarily when you do it. You might as well do it all at once so you get the result. I remember now why I wrote this the way that I wrote this. I was a genius about 3 nights ago. 3 nights ago, I was pretty good at what I did. I'm quite impressed with myself about, 3 nights ago. Or maybe however long. What does it say? What did this? I can't tell. All I know is that I did a fairly good job a long time ago. So we're gonna stick with this, and then when the traces are complete, so we do the ray trace in all 6 cardinal directions, roughly, right? Wherever the snowball is going to move. Then we're done. Then, when we see that there's enough space, we move it accordingly. So let's say we move it up if there's space, otherwise we move it down. If there's no space at all, so if we see that there is no way for there to be space, so if either of these are true, there's no space up or down, up and down, or left and right, or forward and like back, we know that there's a problem and we need to report that backwards, which we kind of do. And this is where I learned the beauty of out arguments, because there's only one return value. And a tuple, why didn't I just use a tuple? Sometimes you wake up and you wonder what you've been doing this whole time, only to look back on yourself and realize, maybe I didn't really know what I knew before. And you feel enlightened, right? Like, I feel zen. It's the zen and art of living life. Okay, what's a tuple? So that's a tuple. Okay, maybe I can do that. Tuple, well, no, I remember. No, see? This is why, right? Zen comes at the cost of... See, It's realizing that the past you was just as knowledgeable as the current you. The only difference was in the context. Because I don't think C# allows you to return tuples. Tuple return type. That's a problem. Value types. No, I wanted to know if can you return a tuple. One of the most common cases is as a method return type. I don't know what past me was thinking. Why did I not do this? What's wrong with me? Yeah, I hate out parameters. These things suck. These things are very, very hard to like reason about. So out parameters, so in and out, right? If you don't know that, you're too young for this term. In and out is a very important concept. Out parameters, you pass something out. In parameters, you push something in, okay? Well, I guess you always push something in. So what's the point of having an in and out, huh? In and out, okay? If you don't know what that is, you haven't eaten yet. Maybe you should. Enjoy some lunch. Although it's expensive. To be fair, it's expensive now. So we're going to do this instead. We're going to do a tuple. And we're going to return a nice value that has an optional null. Ooh, is that good though? I don't know. Optional null? That's kind of crazy though. POV, you're a programmer, and like this is the most excited that you've ever been. It's like, ooh, optional null, buddy. Oh, watch out, buddy. Performance reviews are coming up. It's like, oh man, I hope they don't take my stapler away again. By the way, we were movie theater. The theater opens tomorrow night. I want you all to know. The theater will open tomorrow night. No takesies backsies. It will happen. So we'll do a tuple. That's a syntax for a tuple. That's a weird syntax. Well, it's a nice syntax. I like it. Then we define the types. We do Boolean. We do vector3, which is a value type, which is not a reference type. So it can't even be null. It's even worse. I'm getting fired. Oh, it's even worse. It has to be 0. Oh no. Mathematicians all around the world are crying. So final position gets that. Final position equals new position. Okay, so so we do true. Final position. There we go. So we see that it's equal to 0. We do nothing. Well, I mean, we just see if it's true or false. We have to return the value here somewhere because it's a value type. You can't not return a value type. But when you use it, you can... Yeah, I see. You can okay, I see. You can just check on the first value. Then everything else doesn't really matter. So, okay. And then that's how you use it. So that's how you destructure the things. You go like, has new position. New position. Gotcha. That's nice, actually. Yep, and then here, if it has no new position, highlight the snowball, let the user know it can't move before moving it. We also need to not set the scale. So the scale doesn't get set unless there's space. So calculate new position. If there's no space for it to move and grow, we don't set the scale. We also need to stop propagating scale. Basically, we need to put the snowball in a standstill state. So we have to do this now. If we don't do this now, the mass gets completely out of sync with the scale of the snowball. And that's a bit of a problem. Because then eventually the thing will just like break open, right? So, rid of that. I'm going to clean this up too. I don't know what I was thinking, honestly. This is... Sometimes you look at yourself in your early 20s and you're like, did I really know anything? Then you hit your 40s and you look at yourself in your like early 30s and you're like, did I know anything? Then you hit your 50s and you look back in your early 40s and you think, did I know anything? Then you hit your 60s and honestly, you just don't care anymore. Like, you've lived enough, man. Like, I don't care anymore. I'm 60. Okay, so, oh God. This was a bad time to start programming. It's 9:40. I'm married. I should be spending time with my wife. What's wrong with me? Okay, let's just figure this out. Listen, I can do this. What am I even doing? I need to figure out a way to signal this. So there's two things, right? When I want to signal it backwards, I think for now what we do is almost like a highlight. So snowball here. Okay, let's say you have your snowball here. I want to highlight that snowball is currently going through some trouble. So it needs some space, right? Like, it's cool. Maybe it's just, but let's just, we just take a break, right? It's fine. Snowball goes like this, gets a little, red outline that appears, and then a notification message that says, oh, watch out, snowball's about to break. Where do we do? Can you do notifications? Like, is this like a mobile phone? Man, maybe I should get the iPhone 16. I bet you that thing can do some notifications. New iPhone 16. Is the game done yet? No. Okay, so okay, well, I know what to do. We need to build a notification system. So this is the slow descent into madness of programming, right? You think, okay, I'm just gonna make a snowball that grows, and then when the snowball grows, it's gonna grow red, and it's gonna send a message, okay? And then as soon as somebody says it's gonna send a message to the player, that's when everyone on your team like sits up and it says, looks like we need a new system for this one. It's like, oh, it's too late. Why'd I say that? And they've already thought about it, so they're not gonna let it go. How do we make a notification system? What's a good way of doing it? I guess like pub sub. Yeah, just do like pub sub. So events flow in, event queue. So event flow in. So event flows in. Right. You have events, pop a queue. First in, first out. With FAFO? Is it FAFO or like FIFO? First, what is FAFO? Is that a stream safe like term? FAFO. Fuck around and find out. Sorry, I meant FIFO. Like FIFO. First in, first out. Not FAFO. Fuck around and find out. Oh man. Oh, you silly kids and your silly little abbreviations and like acronyms and like stuff. So funny. So yeah, it's gonna be a first in, first out, not a FAFO. I'm FAFOing right now, right? I'm fucking around and I'm finding out right now. We're gonna do this. First in, first out. One pops in, one pops out. That's it. That's the entire queue. Doesn't even need to be a queue, but like in modeling it roughly like this is gonna be good. Maybe it should be a queue. Are there points where we're not gonna want to show these? Yes. I did with the working cutscenes at some point. There's a very important cutscene that we need to make. Or rather like filming tools to get like a trailer out. So it's either that or with SFM, but I want to do it in the game itself because it's like if I can do it within s&box, you get a lot of the same functionality without having to reanimate everything. So it's nice. Okay, so we'll do first in, first out. We just need something on the screen itself, which is fine. Okay, so we do it on the HUD. Okay, so we just okay, cool. All right, cool. How do you do like events? And also, this is when we need to actually use these like event things. So event, what's it called? Events? No. What? Delegate? Action graph. Thank you. I mean, it basically is a delegate. So I don't typically like using this, but at the same time, it's really good for things like this, where it's like sending a signal and everything that wants to handle it handles it, right? However, very important. We learned this from JavaScript. Okay, there's a lesson that can be learned from a 25-year-old language. Is it 25? I don't know. However old it is. There's a lesson that can be learned from it, and that's callback hell. You could eventually run it into callback hell. It's very important to not run it into a situation and to only deal with like a very small subset of things. Okay, so yeah, we'll figure this out. Okay, so we gotta do this. Action graph. I use variables. Create your own custom nodes. Here we go. Perfect. What? Action resources. You create your own nodes. Oh, wrong one. Sorry, that's not good. I need a custom type on the node itself. Links. Links can output. No. How to use variables? What? Oh, I was like, this feels like the wrong thing for this. Whatchamacallit? Custom. How do I get like the using a C#? Here we go. Here we go. Passing in arguments. This is what I need. See that? And I need like a custom type for the argument. I think. Well. Because it doesn't really matter. Well, this is the way to do it, yeah. The other way is to use a custom delegate type. Here we go. So basically this. Take this. Here we go. We can go over here. So again, because this is effectively just like a C# file. It just happens to have code mixed in. Again, it's very similar to the way that React does it. And I'm surprised that Razer took a very solid model. Not that React itself is like a very understandable model. Like there's a lot of complexities with the way that it works under the hood. But on the surface, the truth is like 99% of your UI is tied to functionality anyways, right? The few that are covered by like hooks. Sorry, the few that aren't are covered by like hooks. So what you get is like a very simplistic model that ties things together. That makes it very clear in like one spot where everything is like happening. Then you also get the idea of like data propagation down through a tree, which is effectively how HTML works, and you get some niceties around that. And just basically copying that like model here, it works. So the action, is it the action? I think so. So you run the action, then what do you do? Right. Right? You can call the property like any other method directly. Hmm. Hmm. Uh-huh. Hmm. Yeah. We're doomed. Yes. Okay, well, we can figure this out. I'm going to do example delegate. Let's rename this really quick into, I don't know. Because what do I want to do? A notification type, right? Notification delegate. There we go. Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to like hit escape. Yeah, sure. Then inside here, what do we have? We have some data. What's the data? Like a string. Maybe just like a text. Like it'll say something, right? This will then show up in the bottom right corner of the screen. So this is the root of the thing. Dot razor. By the way, if you're from JetBrains, please, I'm begging you, fix the issue where it doesn't where the search doesn't really respect the git ignore. I don't know why it doesn't do this, but basically the search will pull from every single file, even if it should only be pulling from the git ignore. I don't know why it does that. How's this gonna work? This is absolute right. There's another quirk about the UI that I found. Say you have two screen panels on this. Two panel components on this one screen panel, right? Effectively, by default, they take up 50% of the space. Like effectively, like each of them on their own. Basically, it's modeled such that they take up like basically the main container feels like a flex box, but it's not really. So if you want UI to stack on top of each other, you have to do it in the way of this, using position absolute. So maybe this is the wrong place for it. Maybe the HUD isn't the right place. Maybe we can do this. Oh, that was a weird noise. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I usually say that for my wife. Said we're gonna do this. We're gonna do a new panel component. Basically the same thing. Actually, we can just do it from here. There's like an easier way to like do it. This is how I found it, by the way. That's how I found it. New panel component. New razor panel component. See that? Name. Notification. UI. Notifications panel. I don't know. Sure. Sure. Thank you for opening my entire like thing. Okay, sure. Notifications panel. Yeah. Cool. Ignore all this. We don't really need. Well, I mean, we kind of do need this. Notifications panel.hud. Wait. There we go. Notifications panel. Notification. SCSS. What was it called again? What's the actual like SCSS file called? How come I can't find it here? Notifications panel.razor.css. How come the search doesn't see it? Notification panel. There we go. How come it doesn't see it in like here? Oh, because that's the classes, right? Sorry. Okay, cool. So we have position absolute, which makes sense. You have background color, drop that. Border radius, why? Font weight bold, don't ever do that ever again. Align item center, just for content center, yeah, sure. I mean, is there like a prettier for this? Then we need to do like a notification card. So sure. I'll just do like a whatever card thing now. And then we'll do like here we'll actually do the font stuff. So maybe we'll do like a font size like 30. Let's just see 30. I don't really know how large this is. Like I don't know what 30 means on this like screen. I know what it means in general, but I know what like because like what is the root or like I don't know like here like 1.5 like rem. Like what is the root font size? I don't know. Maybe we do want bold, actually. Bold. What else do I need? I need to do display flex. And how do I want to do this? I want to do space apart. I guess like in general, I'll have an icon on the left to keep it simple, and I'll have like the text on the right side. Basically, it'll look like this. Something really simple. Notification card, kind of like this. I know I got a tablet to draw with, but I'm too lazy to like. You can't just whip it out. The tablet, like, you need to like really think about it. Some border radius, sure, and then we do like maybe like an icon over here. I'm not really sure. Could be an icon over there, and then you have like text here itself. So the text itself, so it keeps the rest of the space, and it'll be centered. So everything grows around the text. It's top left aligned for the icon. The text itself can like grow downwards. I think that's a fine pattern to have. So, but again, there's kind of a limit of like how large is your notification, right? I think it's fine. So we do it like that. Okay, so whatever. But we have the system, the way it works. We just do it like this, just for content. Was it? Which one is it again? I never remember which one does it. So almost always, I just try both until I remember. Because the way that they explain this is so confusing. Because these actually depend on what is your main axis. So if it's like... Because it's main axis and then there's like the side axis or like the off axis. But I never remember which one is the main axis and like the off axis. And I never remember which one, but well, rather, I never remember which one specifically relates to the main axis and like the off axis, right? Because is justify content for the main axis, or is align items for the main axis, or is align content for the main axis, right? Like or is it justify items? You know what I mean? Like there's a million different ways that could go. So instead, we'll do it like this. We'll do space between. We'll do like a padding of like, I don't know, 8 pixels. We'll go like a tailwind style here, I guess. Like just system wise. I mean, also kind of want like line height. Let me think about this. Yeah, it's good. Then, well, what do we need to do? We need 2 boxes, one for the text and one for the icon itself. So there's the icon itself on the left side. Well, it doesn't even need to be boxes, right? Like it could just be its own thing. Text needs to be center aligned though. Because as it grows, you kind of want it to look like that. Okay, so maybe text should be center aligned. So like, it's like center aligned. So text align, center, and then well, left. And it's really the content of the text itself, which I think is handled by Flex as well. 99% certain, though I can't recall. So maybe this is more of like a text container. This is awful. I genuinely don't know if this will work. Yeah, online items. One of these is gonna make it too centered. Okay, well, maybe this is actually good. So we'll do that center, and it'll grow. It'll then go to the top left, because this is top left aligned. Yeah, okay, should be good. Okay, cool. Yeah, as it fills up, it should be good. And then no padding on the text itself, but just padding on the container itself, and then this thing will just grow to fit. Yep, makes sense. Okay, then we got to go into, I don't know, notifications panel. What is all this? Don't need this. Don't need this. The hash thing is for if you basically it has the same model as like React, where if it needs to figure out like you can define when it re-renders effectively with the hash. It's basically not it's 99% of the same system. Basically 99%. What's my class name again? Yes, this is the problem. How do I do a split again? Oh god. How do you split in here? Open and right split. Wait. Track action IDs. Yep. Okay, cool. We're gonna go this cannot detect action ID. What? What do you mean? You can't detect that? What? What's the point of you? What's the point of you? What's the point of you? Okay, well, I'm boned. We'll do it manually. Fine. Oh, it's in like a whole different place now. Oh, no. Okay, well, fine. Whatever. And then SCSS. Notifications panel SCSS. Okay, cool. And then we gotta figure out what's the class name again. Class name is card. And then do and what was the image again? There was like a way to do the image itself. What was it again? HUD.razor. This thing. It's a ref to some property, so that's interesting. Icon equal icon, and then we go over here. And then this actually refers to this, so then we gotta do this for now. For now, we'll do like just a plain like cube, basically. Cool, and then we'll rename this to icon. Oops. Icon. Oops. Icon. Oh, wait, sorry. Icon glyph. Icon texture. I think that works out. Ignore the error here. The error here actually doesn't matter. Like when it says this, it doesn't matter because technically that is the actual type. It actually does do the conversion. I just don't think that the types are fully set up. So this is the one time that I'm advocating ignoring errors, but it seems to run fine, so it doesn't really matter. So that's the icon itself. Then we need to do. How do I set the size of this? What? Well, I guess this could be on the texture, but I do want to set the size of the image itself. So maybe we do that on here, actually. Before I do that, though, actually, wait. Notification panel. Wrong file. God damn it. There we go. Here we do, what was the thing again? And then we just do like, I don't know, forget image. The width, I don't know. I don't know. Was it an object fit contain? There we go. We'll do it like this. Heck it. And then height 100%. Width 100%. I think that's the way you do it. It's been a long time since I've had to use like an image. I know it sounds crazy to say, but like, it's weird. Because usually most projects, this is the weirdest part. Most projects, once you have the image in, like once you have your static assets in, and you have your configuration for like images in, right? You basically never use images ever again until you need to add like a new thing, like a new place where it's used. Because making more ways for the user to have images or adding new images adds cost. That's way more than just like strings. So almost always configuration is just purely based on that. And so usually, and like, you know, again, you don't deal with images for UI controls. That's almost always handled by some baseline like HTML and like CSS thing, not images. Oh, unless you're crazy, but I don't know if you really want to do images, so. Also, Mod, are you home yet? Or are you close to home? Hopefully you please do get home safe. It's like late, so please do get home safe. Maybe there's no way a screen reader works on this, right? I don't think so. Class equal yes mod. I do care. Yeah, I do care. How did you know? Sorry, that was. And then I need to. Oh, this is weird. How do you make these things dynamically? Huh. 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 How to make the notifications dynamically? What I want to do is this. What I want to do is this. Display notification. Existing notification gets pushed up. Fade time on notification before it disappears. That's easy. You can do like a timed opacity. That's like fine. But the hard part is not the moving up either. It's dynamically displaying the notifications based on data. How to dynamically make children. sometimes in programming, like we say the strangest things, right? Like again, if with like processes, with a process, you kill the parent, then you kill the like child, or you kill the child and then you kill the like parent if you care about the what the child has to say to you, right? When you're dealing with a UI stuff, you need to think about the parents and the children, and you think about how you make children, because too many children, everything slows down, right? But not enough children, not enough gets like done. It really is like a metaphor for birth. This is a problem for later, right? The key is that we have this structure and it kind of works. So we'll just have this appear at the bottom of the screen the entire time. I feel like that's. I'm gonna be so annoyed. I knew I'd be annoyed. I knew I'd be annoyed. But now here's the cool part. So if I bring my editor across on the one side only, so here. So this is the cool part about this now. So we do this. Can I do Zen mode still? No, Zen mode is a full screen mode. Okay, well, who cares? Wrong one. No, this is the right one, right? Right? Yeah, okay, so text size of that. I think you can update this automatically. Like, yeah, see? So now it updates dynamically. So we can tweak this like live. Pretty cool, actually. Pretty cool. Background color, red. Sure. That's not what I wanted, but sure. Okay. Cool, man. Do you really want the container on the bottom right? Oh, easy. We do top 0, right 0, bottom 0. How about top? What's the coordinate again? Oh god, I forgot about the coordinates. So MDN top. There's this. I can't remember if it's like minus to go down or like plus to go up or something. Maybe I'm mixing that up with like an actual game engine thing. I don't know. So the more top there is, the more bottom it goes. Right. Because it's offset from. Right. I remember. Offset from. So how much do I want to offset this from? Why even bother? We do right bottom. We do height, 500 pixels. Easy. See that? So now and then this is how you test it. Background color, blue. Yeah, see? There we go. This has to be a percentage of the screen space. Does that work? Does VH work? 1 VH. Nope. Does 100%. So percentages work, but not VH, which makes sense because I don't know why they would support that. 1 DVH, 1 SVH. Those are two new. We'll do 10%. 10% of total screen. That seems like a very low amount. 20, 30. It can go up to 40% of your screen. So that's how high these like things can show up. That makes sense. Okay, so that makes sense. That's how high they can take up space in your screen. The width will be constrained by the width of the thing, I think. Although actually, maybe you do like, I don't know. Yeah, max width, maybe we do like, I don't know, 30. I really don't want these to take up like a ton of space. Which means the text size is going to be way smaller. Which means the line height could be even smaller. Well, maybe more like, I don't know. Is that too small now? 0.75 maybe? 0.75 REM. And maybe do 0.75 REM too. Yeah, okay, so you do it like that, very small, very minor. When you blow it up to like a full screen size, that's awful. I don't know what I was thinking. Huh? No, that's really good. That's like way too large still. What? How large is an REM in this? What's the default font size? Oh, you know what? That's interesting. So when you first play the UI, the size of the UI is defined by your full screen like viewport. So if I go like this and I go like this, right? It'll actually look good. How do I go back? The rest of the editor. Don't tell me did I close the rest of it? Okay, well, bring you down here. Do this. See, like it looks good here because it's being based on the full screen size. That's why it's kind of hard to like. Okay, so it's fine. The text size is still like massive though. Like it should be a lot smaller, but that's like doable. So now we can change that a bit. We'll do like, yeah, it really should be like 0.5, just like very, very small. So I guess default font size is like massive. But then now it's like that, so I don't really know what that means. Why is it so small all of a sudden? Like that's too small for me to read as a player. What? Three. I'm just curious what this is. Three. See, that's the size that it seemed like it was before. Getting closer and closer. So maybe we do like, okay, we'll do like a 1 and a 1. I don't really need this. It's with too small. Actually, we do kind of care about like a line height, but 2 is good. There we go. 2 is good. We'll do it like that. Max width should maybe be, and let's just see what the width is at like 30. That's a lot of information on your screen, right? Is that too much information to see for notification? Probably not. I think that's fine. It's either that or in the center of your viewport, like looking up. Either way, we'll figure this out. It'll look better as we get to it. Do 20% of screen space. That's a lot better. There we go. Do max width. Well, is it worth it to just have it scale anyways? Because the cards themselves have the notification space. Do we need to care about the background opacity though? If so, then that would matter a lot, right? Yeah, we'll do 30. Keep it at that static 30. That's a good size for notifications, I think. Okay. Good. Yes, good. Very good. Very good. Am I hired back yet, mod? Now that you see me write code, am I allowed to join again? Please. We do this, we do that. Okay, cool. So we have the panel itself, we have the code itself. We don't know how to do any of this. I don't know how to make children, so I'm gonna leave that. We don't need to make children. Making children is really optional. It's really like live your life. You know what I mean? We don't need to deal with that. We can deal with that later. Please submit the finished game by end of day. You sound like a dictator. And then you're good again. You even did what's crazy is you even did the thumbs up emoji that they always use. What's crazy, right, is that the managers they always do like unreasonable request, reassuring message, thumbs up emoji, and it's like I can't do this. Thank you for trying to reassure me, I guess, but I still feel awful. Are you looking for a job? I have a role that I think you would excel at. It's a manager of a company. I think you'd be great in the role. I think you'd be fantastic. Yeah, that's good. Okay, I'm gonna stop messing with this. Basically, we have the system here, so we send the notification over. We need to go back to the snowball. Somewhere down here, I don't know where. Where is it again? It was calculate, right? There we go. And then we got to go here. There we go. I'm gonna go here. Okay, let me go here. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, here we go. So when we return nothing, we need to highlight the snowball. So we have a highlight. We have a way to highlight things. The camera already supports highlights, but now we need to apply a specific highlight to it. Now, highlight that has a specific configuration. Is that possible? Huh. What do we do highlights? What do we do highlights? Curve, range, control. No, can I only include my project stuff? Like my project stuff. Here we go. That's a problem. This is how we do the highlight currently. And I wonder if there's a way for you to have like a prefab of a component, but at that point you might as well just make a higher order component, which is like, you know what I mean? Like, oh god. Well, not a higher order component, but you know what I mean? You ideally just want to make like a new extension. What's the OOP term? What's like the object oriented programming term again? It's been a long time since I've used these like terms. Because honestly, they don't really come up in like conversation. Like you're like say you're at the water cooler and like you know, or you take the piss, and somebody's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I mean, it's weird in most situations, but then you start talking about like OOP and like inheritance and like diamond shapes, and you're like, "But yours is round." It's like, man, we have to go back to like square one here. Um, Yeah, really, what to figure out what do we? Maybe we just do that. Maybe we just can I even extend this? Like, is it possible to even extend this? Navigate to implementation. Navigate to declaration. Sorry, it's a code offset. I could extend it because I just want to set like a default color for things. Because I don't want to have to do it like in every single place. Set like a new color. Although if it's only in the snowball, no, it's only in the snowball. It's only in the snowball. So does it really matter? Not really. We'll do that same code that we had before. What was the code? Selector. Okay, we'll do this. We'll go to the snowball. We'll go to scale by mass. We'll do it here. Something like this on the snowball itself, because this is the snowball itself. Okay. Okay, so we need to do the highlight. So current highlight equals component that gets equal thing. What did I do? What? Get destroy null. Oh, right, because whatever's being currently highlighted, right? That's a whole different function. So, should I store it there? I don't know. Maybe I should. Do I want to store a reference to an existing class, though? Does that make any sense? No. Not at all. Because either way, you have to get it to destroy it, so... Current highlight, components.get or create highlight outline. This is kind of important, though. Basically, how do we know that it's good again? Oh god, there's like flowcharts of decisions everywhere. How do you know that a snowball is good again? Like, what's the condition for a snowball to be good again? What can you as a player do in that situation? If it's stuck, let's say it's stuck somewhere, right? You have your snowball here. It's seen better days. Don't worry. There's 6 sides, right? We'll handle the forward. We'll handle the up, down, left, right for now. Left to right have some fairly easy ways to solve itself, right? If it's just left and right and not forward or like back, you can just turn it left. Like if it's too close to the left, you turn that thing right, right? If it's too close to the right, you turn it left. That's fairly straightforward until you have no more space at the front. You know what? Generically, the condition is as long as there's any space at all. Like as long as there's space somewhere, except for the bottom direction. So again, the bottom direction down is always a special case. Yeah. I got this. I got this. It doesn't even need to be a special case. I've already done the work here. I've already done the check here. We just need to do like 3 movement tries. Like, has it been 3 movement tries? How do we communicate a try of movement? It's not like a tile-based movement game where you move in like tiles, right? Because then it'd be easy. This thing is a living physics object. Like, what's a unit of movement that makes sense to like stop it by? Oh, this is something that we need to do, actually. We need to redo this, too. We need to rethink this. Wrong one. No, not treat control. This. 1, I need to treat this more as an event-based system and not as a state-based system. This containing state is going to be very, very painful. Being it as an event-based system makes it way easier to manage and like reason about. So we need to do with that. 2, we need to rethink the movement. The movement right now is kind of works, but again, because we're reusing the character controller on a snowball, it doesn't really work. I want to make its own like movement controller that isn't fully physics, but maybe it should be, because then it'd be a lot better. But then it's like, how do you restrain the physics in a way that makes sense, and how do you apply physics and like gravity in a way that makes sense, right, towards what you're moving to? So, I mean, it's gonna be hard, but this is really the key to the entire puzzle. Is knowing how this would work, knowing how it would move, would then determine how we say it's still going to be bad versus it will be good, right? And it's about propagating the trajectory of movement. Oh God, let me think about this. How do I know that it's good? Knowing that it's bad is one thing, right? That's very easy. How do you know when something's good again? When you know something's bad, you know that there's no space somewhere. How do you know that there's space all of a sudden? Or rather, how often do you check, and what's the condition for it to be good? Is it a time-based thing? If you don't fix the problem within 3 seconds, it'll break. But what if you just want to leave the snowball there? Let's say you just leave the snowball there and you're no longer moving it, right? Then it shouldn't check anymore, and it should actually reset the like timer. And even then, it should only do it if it's still moving in that same direction. So okay, so let's look at it like this. You've got a snowball, and you're moving it into a corridor or like a wall. Or rather, it doesn't matter, because when you move the snowball, regardless, as long as it's on the ground, it'll always grow. Yeah, there's a couple of interesting cases here, but they all basically boil down to the same problem of like, there's no way for the player to resolve it. There's always a floor. Uh-oh. Are we back? Sorry, chat. I think my Steam tried to download something, which like killed everything. Sorry about that. Hopefully we're like back down. But let's say there's always a floor, right? So there's always a bottom to where you're going. So if you're stuck in a tunnel that's like this, and you want to move the snowball, and the snowball has grown to the point where it fills the entire space kind of like this, you now cannot do anything at all. Because the floor is always a constant thing. We're not going to have the ability for you to like dig a tunnel underneath, because that's a very different game, right? Maybe you can launch the snowball up, and I want to have that possibility. Maybe you have like rockets on a snowball, but I don't know if it's worth it. Because then you could just go up. But if there's no player possible intervention, maybe we just say, as long as you have your hands on it and you're trying to move it, and there's any acceleration vector, then it's going to break. Any acceleration besides gravity, then it's going to break. Which, I mean, it's captured within the acceleration. So, yeah, I know what to do. Here, we need... This is probably the worst thing I've ever made in my entire life. And that's saying something. You know what I mean, Chad? What is the velocity thing again? What was the thing again? Acceleration? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What's on the player? Oh God. It's good that we're coming back to this now, right? Because if we never came back to it, I don't think we would know the mistakes of our past. It would be far too we'd be far too removed from these mistakes to fix them in a way that makes sense. But now that we're here, we're able to make things better. Well, I say we, but like really it's me later, and all of you are just watching me, trying my best to make sense of whatever I made. And you know what? Life lesson. Life facts. Life lesson. But you're stuck in a place like this. One of the best things that you can do for a problem like this is to go back, fly high above the clouds, look down on what you've made, and try to figure out, is it even necessary for it to be like this at a high level? Like really looking at it and then going like, is it necessary for this to be like this at a very high level? Usually never know, right? And so what you can do is sort of go back and even question the base assumptions to then come to a better solution. It's my favorite activity to do because it lets me avoid the problem and basically sequester it to somebody else who has to deal with this higher level question. You can tell I don't really do well in my jobs. So we gotta do instead this. At least for now, we do need to know the acceleration, the impulse acceleration. So we do need to actually get this value. We can't modify it, but we can get it. Or rather, we can only modify it internally. Hmm. This is awful. What is the opponent of the impulse acceleration again? Right, that was the whole thing. And then punching. What? If it's punch. Oh god, what did I do here? Why did I do all this? Why did I make like a layer on top of the character controller? Why did I do this? Oh, it was for the gravity. It was to incorporate gravity back into it. Right. This still kind of works for the gravity. Yeah. Get impulse acceleration. Sure. 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 There we go. Well, I already have it there, so I can just do this. Where is it again? And then it's like, okay, if it's still moving, so, if impulse acceleration is still above 0, and we're passing some amount of time, then we'll break. Okay, so, oh Jesus, I need to make this 2 separate timers. Technically, this one timer is doing way more work than should. There's too many checkpoints. Do one timer for time passed since growing, one timer for time passed since shrinking, since melting, and then time stuck, basically. Door stuck, time passed. Door stuck! Door stuck, please! I beg you! We'll do it like that. Okay, we'll go like this. Man, Knowledge makes such good music. God damn, love him. Him and Anderson .Paak on the new album too. Why, Lord? So good. The way he says it too is like so good. Yes, Lord. Why, Lord? Love. We do that. I think that's good. Okay, so we do that. We do this. If the get impulse acceleration greater than, is there like a way to say if it's greater than? I don't know. Well, I mean, really, it's just not almost equal. And then almost equal in vector 3 float delta. Returns true for nearly equal to the past vector. 3.0. This has to keep a track of the timer too. So while we're still stuck, we need to do this, highlight it in red. This is a whole different thing. This is an entirely different thing. This just adds the highlight. There's not really much we need to do. This needs to go. I'm gonna go away from that. I'm gonna make a new function to avoid my mistakes of the me yesterday. I'm gonna make a new function to avoid my mistakes of the me yesterday. Okay, we're gonna rename this at some point, but for now, I want you to understand that this is what they mean by defensive coding. You must protect your emotions because the emotions of your programming self the emotions of your psyche are much more important than necessarily the code that you're writing. It's important for you to walk home every day feeling better about yourself, or at least feeling good, because if you don't feel good, then what's the point, right? Like life is hard as this. So we're gonna protect myself here, right now. Sure, we'll do that right now. So we'll do this var highlight or highlight outline equals this. This color needs to be red. So color equals. What is a color? Excuse? What in the world is a color? Sandbox.system color RGBA. Okay, it has red. You have to instantiate it because it's a value type, right? I see. Gotcha. It's a value type. Gotcha. Yeah, sure. Add it here. In here, if we're still not equal, we just start like a counter of it. I mean, well, you'll need to pass it down though. Time delta time is now it's like a global thing, right? So we can do like this. For all intents and purposes, the time delta, for all intents and purposes, we do this. We add it to the current value until it stops moving. So actually, it really should be inverted like this. So it should be like door stuck, time passed. If it is almost equal to 0, so the player has stopped moving it, so it's no longer stuck, we simply say, okay, the snowball is safe, it hasn't died yet, right? We simply say this is now float dot, let me just a 0. Then we return. If we instead see that the if wait, if we instead see that the player is still trying to move, right? Well, I mean, I guess that's implied by the return. So if the player is still trying to move, but then door stuck time passes past a certain amount of time, we'll say it's greater than or equal to. I mean, like, oh man. Yeah, greater than or equal to. I mean, equal to is kind of like weird. Maybe just greater than threshold. So like 3 seconds, right? Then we destroy the snowball cataclysmically with great gusto and animations and stuff. But for now, it's just GameObject.destroy. So it's gonna break. Ooh. How do you propagate that? Wait a minute. How do you propagate the events of something that's going through into other systems? Is there like an on destroy life cycle? Maybe there is. Because then we could do it through life cycles, and then we get into PHP magic, and then it's like I don't want to program anymore, and I kind of just want to like leave this place, and I want to go open like a goose farm or something. I just want to be a me. Hey boss, I don't think I'm gonna be able to submit this. Hey boss, you're not gonna like this, but that report might be a little bit late. We might not get to it until in like time. So we may, yeah, maybe end of day tomorrow. How do you feel about that? Maybe end of day tomorrow we'll submit it then, right, boss? Yeah. You know what they say. Today is not the day. Today you've lost your way, but tomorrow you won't feel the sorrow anymore. Yeah, we'll do events. So components, there's a component life cycles. What are the life cycles again? Life cycle. Components. Ah man, I really wish there was like easier ways to like search this. I like know these things. Component micros. Here we go. On disabled, on update, on destroy. So what we can do is we can just destroy it here and make it on destroy that then handles everything else. So we'll do predict override on destroy. There we go. We'll do this to do notify the train conductor. This has disappeared. And really, this is really like a thing that we need to do with the train conductor anyways, because the train conductor itself needs more things anyways. Like it also needs like a public void died. Public void died. Game object. Ooh. Mortuary. Ooh. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is a valid, stable reference of a game object that would have died but is now gone? Is there even such a thing as a valid reference of a game object that is now destroyed? Maybe not. So maybe the thing to do, okay, to do. I mean, it's really like this whole thing here. To do. What is the validity? What is the lifetime of a game object once the destroy has been started? How long are we allowed to extend this to do cleanup code? What happens if destroy immediate is called? Does this still get to go into this cleanup flow? If not, is it easy to generate IDs instead to track things? These would be separate from the internal entity IDs that the engine is using, especially since those get, I'm assuming at least, those I'm assuming get reused whenever needed if the pool hits a cap, but we have space from cleanup. I'm assuming that's what happens. If there even is like an ID. If there even is an ID. Because then, otherwise, how would you be able to know? If you don't have access to the game object by this point when it gets destroyed, then it's too late for this. So it's like the life cycle kind of matters. This is what Rust was designed to solve, and I hate that they went with C#, but I also unscented choices because, like, do you really want to use Rust on a daily basis to write a dynamic program? Not really. It's a really painful process to have to learn everything from the ground up. But once you do, you get guarantees like this. You get assurances that just work out of the box, and you don't even need to think about it anymore. And there's no need to do defensive coding because I only care about defending my emotions and my heart and not my code. I'm done. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this sandbox segment. Again, there was only going to be like an hour of it tonight, but tomorrow will be a longer segment because tomorrow's a bit of a shorter day because we did most of the heavy stuff today. So, again, we'll do more of this and we'll get more of the sandbox stuff done and like the Snowjob stuff done. But I want to start with programming and then end with gaming next time just to really get into it. Or maybe we do either or. I'm trying out right now for the next week, starting with gaming and with programming. If I'm too tired to go into the programming, maybe we start with programming going into gaming. But if I'm too tired to play games, is it really fun? I don't know. But we'll make more progress on this. Again, we're still very far off from like an actual playable project that like doesn't feel bad to play. And I think we need to rectify these mistakes now because if I don't rectify these mistakes now, again, as you can see, we're getting into harder decisions of like what happens when a snowball breaks and stuff, right? And we're getting into problems where it's like the snowball itself needs to tell the player very easily that it's going to break. Otherwise, the whole game breaks and the whole physics system like doesn't really work, right? So we have to be very, very careful here. Once we get that, though, I think it'll be good. But we have to get to that point at some point. It's just going to take some time. But thanks for watching, everyone. For this segment of Sandbox, we didn't make it to the game jam, but we will make it to Christmas. I swear on everything.